By the beginning of the 1st century BC, the Roman Republic was imploding. Roman values were under siege. Slave revolts stunned the ruling class. Something had to give. One of Rome's best-known citizens was born to wealthy parents in 100 BC. As with many young Roman aristocrats, Julius Caesar had a strong sense of destiny. As a child, he dared to claim he was descended from the goddess Venus. Caesar's first official post was as a military officer in Spain. There, the 30-year-old Caesar stared at a statue of Alexander the Great. How had he achieved nothing, he wept, when at his age, Alexander had conquered the world? Roman politicians had always staged huge spectacles to impress the voters. In 63 BC, Caesar outdid them all. 640 gladiators fought to the death at his first public games. It was an unprecedented display of power. But Caesar knew there were two secrets to gaining power in Rome. One was playing to the people. Commanding a successful army was the other. In 59 BC, Caesar became military commander over Gaul, modern-day France. 9 years later, 1 million Gauls were dead or enslaved. It was a flagrant act of genocide. At the end of his term in Gaul, Caesar headed back to Rome. Much like Sulla, Caesar was returning from war with an army loyal to him, not Rome. Like Sulla, Caesar wanted something the Republic could never allow: total power. In January 49 BC, Caesar committed the ultimate act of treachery. He persuaded his army to march on Rome, and like Sulla, began a civil war. The Senate quickly chose Pompey, conqueror of the East, to defend the Republic. Once Caesar's friend and son-in-law, the two were now bitter enemies. Rome's two greatest generals met in Greece. Pompey was no match for Caesar and his brutal fighting force. He fled to Egypt, but was eventually captured and killed. The Republic of Rome was now Caesar's. But Caesar had other things on his mind. In Egypt in 48 BC, he met the young queen Cleopatra. They fell in love and had a child. Cleopatra persuaded Caesar to help her overthrow her brother and co-ruler so that she could rule by herself. In 46 BC, she accompanied Caesar back to Rome. Vulnerability was not something Caesar understood. When he returned to Rome, he said, "Veni, vidi, vici." I came, I saw, I conquered. That evening, he threw a banquet for 22,000 of Rome's poorest citizens. Hypnotized, the people did the unthinkable. They voluntarily voted Caesar the absolute powers of a dictator.
Do you hear Julius Caesar is dead now? I can't believe it. He's declared himself dictator of Rome for life.
A dictator. That's sort of like a king, isn't it? Nobody is going to allow a king to ever rule Rome again.
Imagine the Senate will have something to say about that.
They're not going to do anything.
Pony will stop him. He always does.
Where have you been? Down at your country estates again? Pompey was killed last month in Egypt.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
There's no one left to fight him.
The Senate.
Forget the Senate. He doesn't listen to the Senate.
Don't get mad, but Julius Caesar really seems to care about the people. Would it be such a bad thing if he did take over for a while? You've got to admit, Rome has some problems.
That's the truth. You can't walk the street anymore. Crime is out of control.
And money is no good. People are broken out of work.
Rome's problems are getting worse, not better. Maybe it's not such a bad idea to give Caesar a shot at fixing things.
I'm sure Caesar would agree with you. That's probably why he's making so many changes.
What kind of changes?
Look, here he comes. He's going to speak. Listen.
Citizens of Rome, I, Julius Caesar, declare myself dictator of Rome for life. The Republic is dead. It was merely a name. It wasn't working. I'm the only one who can save Rome from more civil wars. Trust in me, citizens. I alone will save my beloved Rome. Hear me. I decree the following. 1. The calendar will now have 365 1/4 days. 2. Coins will have my face on them. Those are the only coins safe to use. 3. I decree that all slaves will be freed in the years ahead. 4.
Did you see? He was wearing a purple robe. The robe from the god's temple. Only priests can wear purple.
Who does he think he is? A god? A god?
Who does he think he is? A god?
A god?
Who does he think he is? A god?
I'd heard he was freeing the slaves.
He can't free the slaves. The provinces need them to grow food, and we need food from the provinces.
He's mad.
I think it's mad to run around Rome screaming decrees. You won't get an argument from me.
And those statues of himself are everywhere. I am so sick of seeing his ugly face. What's this new project of his?
More statues, probably.
In that new calendar, the old one was fine. Why a new one? Oh, I know why. Because he wants to name a month after himself.
Don't forget about his son. He wants to name a month after him, too.
He really thinks he's a god.
What makes me mad is that he's putting all of his friends in the position of power. That's not fair. He's ruining everything.
He's destroying the Republic. He has to be stopped. Julius Caesar is my best friend, and I say stop him. Let's fix our problems, not destroy Rome.
Caesar is mad.
He's crazy.
He only thinks about himself. His face on our coins, his statues everywhere, his purple robes, his silly son, his stupid calendar.
We have to stop him.
The only way to stop him is to kill him.
If we kill him, everything would go back to the way it was.
Then we kill him.
Count me in.
Caesar has agreed to meet with the Senate finally on March 15th. The meeting is at the Temple of Jupiter. That may be our only chance to stop the madness.
I'll be there.
And me.
And me.
And me.
And me.
Caesar then shocked everyone. He used his total control not for revenge, but social reform. Caesar gave the Roman poor what they wanted. He made sure no Roman citizen ever went hungry. He gave grain to the poor and land to his soldiers, paid for by himself. Caesar, the benign dictator, was incredibly popular. Like Tiberius, he was a little too popular for some.
Here was a man who was desperate to be king of the Roman people, master of the whole world. A man who believes such an ambition to be morally right must be insane. Cicero.
In February 44 BC, he went too far. Caesar asked the people to elect him dictator for life. To accept absolute power forever was an open insult to his Republican peers. Cicero was disgusted and retired from political life in protest. The Senate wasn't so meek. They invited Caesar to explain his actions. It was the Ides of March. By mid-morning, the crisis was over. At the foot of a statue of Pompey lay Caesar's body, stabbed 35 times. Rome's poor were outraged. At Caesar's funeral, they lit torches from the pyre and set fire to the houses of the assassins. That night, a comet blazed across the sky. It seemed an omen. Julius Caesar, the champion of the poor. The citizens of Rome declared him a god. That changed everything. For the poor had made it clear they valued the gifts of a dictator more than the empty promises of a republic.
I tried to warn him. I told him, beware the Ides of March, but he didn't listen. Poor Julius.
You had an idea in March?
No, the Ides of March. March 15th. Beware the Ides of March. I told him. I knew.
His enemies got to him, I suppose.
Et tu, Brute?
What?
Et tu, Brute? It means, you too, Brutus. Julius Caesar thought Brutus was his friend. He was wrong. But you were right. His enemies killed him.
Enough about Caesar. I'm so tired of hearing about that guy. What about me? What do you see in the future for me?
Choose your friends carefully, Cassius.
Julius Caesar was dead, but things in Rome did not change as people had hoped they would. There's more trouble, more debt, more problems. The only thing people want to know is who would take his place.